Good morning, class. Hello and welcome to the 2020 module of history. I will be your teacher throughout this module. I hope you guys are ready. I hope you have your masks. You don't quite understand that joke yet, but by the time I'm finished with you guys, you will. So today we are going to begin with where it all started. The Australian bushfires. Good morning, class. I hope you're all doing well. Please turn to page 5 of your textbooks. We are going to talk about the threat of World War III that occurred with Iran. Good morning, class. I hope you're all doing well. Please turn to page 10 of your textbooks. We are going to discuss the life of one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Kobe Bryant. So, Kobe was... Good afternoon, class. I hope you're all doing well. So, please turn to page 20 of your textbooks. We are going to discuss one of the greatest events of 2020. And for this, I expect you to wear your masks. And by the time we finish this lesson, you will probably understand why. Coronavirus hit the globe. Not just us or in this country. It hit the world. The entire world. Imagine the whole world hit with a virus. Yes, it happened in 2020 before you lucky sods were born. So, the coronavirus is actually the name of a group family of viruses. COVID-19 is what we're really going to be focusing on. COVID-19...
Sir?
Yes?
Why is it called COVID-19?
That's a very good question. Why is it called COVID-19? It's called COVID-19 because it actually got discovered in 2019. But kind of waited until 2020 for it to make itself known to the world. You know, it only appeared in China, and then in 2020 it thought, forget this, I'm going to just go global. And that's what happened. So that's why it's called COVID-19 and not COVID-20. Good morning, class. So, to continue from last lesson in terms of COVID-19, we are going to discuss the impact that it had. And we're going to talk about the quarantine and lockdown. Now, hands up how many students have been locked down before or quarantined in their lives. Well, I can happily say I did, but I'm not a student, so I'm not going to put my hand up. I'm the teacher, and you listen to me. Quarantine and lockdown was one of the worst things to ever happen to the world. And this is why. Good morning, class. I hope you're all doing well. Now, who believes in aliens? Well, in 2020, the Pentagon unveiled footage and classified information that showed the entire planet that they had footage of UFOs and they reckon it might be aliens. So, let's discuss that today. Good morning, class. I hope you're all doing well. So today we are going to discuss one of the bigger events of 2020. And this was the death of a man in the United States by a policeman who had his knee on the poor man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That man that unfortunately lost his life is called George Floyd. And the repercussions of that were riots, not only across the United States, but protests worldwide. And that's why today we live in a world where everyone doesn't judge anyone by the colour of their skin anymore. And racism is a thing of the past. Hello, class. Good morning. We are going to continue the topics of last week, where we discussed George Floyd. But we're going to talk about the president at that time of the United States, a man called Donald Trump. You can go online to find out what kind of a man he was. I'm not going to give my opinion on that today, because it wouldn't go down so well. But anyway, he decided to deploy the military on the streets of the United States in 2020. Did you know that? Good morning, class. I hope you're doing well. So we're going to continue from the topic of George Floyd and the race protests that occurred in 2020. Please turn to page 35 of your textbooks. We're going to discuss the great return of a hacker group called Anonymous. Good afternoon, class. I remember telling you guys to bring your masks in for the COVID-19 talk. Well, I hope you've kept them, because today we're going to discuss another virus called Ebola. This virus returned in 2020 after an exodus of about 3-4 years. It decided to make its grand return in 2020 on the African continent. Just as COVID-19 was a big world factor and a big problem across the entire globe, Ebola felt left out and thought, let me make a reappearance to make everyone panic even more. So that's what happened in 2020. Good afternoon, class. I hope you're all well. Today we're going to continue the virus talk. So in 2020, not only did COVID-19 appear and make itself known to the world, and as we discussed last week and the week before, the countries across the globe managed to find ways to bring it down and to bring normality back to the world. But then COVID-19 thought, you know what, I got to make a second wave time. So it decided to make a comeback. We're going to discuss that today. So the second wave of COVID-19. Good afternoon, class. I hope you're ready for this one. Flipping out. So, remember at the very beginning of this module, we discussed the threat of World War III with Iran. So, when it hit about June, there was a re-emergence of, I'm realising there's a lot of re-emerging in 2020. So, we had the re-emergence of World War III threats because India and China started fighting each other on the flipping border, where they started killing each other's soldiers and taking each other's soldiers hostage and whatever happened. North Korea had blown up a building that was serving as a coalition between themselves and South Korea, where they were getting a lot of mutual interests done in that building. North Korea thought, you know what, we're done with this. We don't need South Korea. Let's just blow this building up. So they decided to blow it up. These two major factors re-triggered the threats of World War III. Yes. And everything that we discussed so far, guess what? We're only halfway. So the amount of classes we've had, you're going to have all those amount again, because we've just reached June. So we've still got July, August, September, October, November and December to discuss in order to finish this module. So I hope you've taken your notes, because we're not going back to any other topics that we've already covered. That, my class, was the first half of 2020. And it's time to go home. So pick up all of your belongings. I hope you have a nice evening. You are all dismissed.